This place is so congested. The traffic is so heavy. I have to think 10 times before going out whether I reach my destination on time or not. The people are living on the streets. Can't they afford their homes? Oh, we hear these statements regularly. These all are interrelated to just one disastrous word, that is overpopulation. Overpopulation is a condition in which the number of people living exceeds the capacity of the land to hold. For example, in a refrigerator, the egg stand can hold only 6 eggs. But if we try to adjust 11 to 12 eggs in the same egg stand, then that will be known as overcrowding. And the same in humans is known as overpopulation.
Overpopulation is a major problem, but how does it affect environment? Due to certain human activities, the environment is degrading and which leads to certain environmental issues. Major current environmental issues include issues like global warming, pollution, climate change and environmental deterioration. But what are we doing? We can just see its consequences. These problems are not only future threat, but they are the main drivers behind the increasing demands of humans. 5 out of every 10 people is suffering from disease like asthma. Not only people, but even flora, fauna and biophysical environment is suffering. Last decade, 2.4 billion people were suffering due to such problems. And in the previous one, 1.7. Rains, storms, droughts, famines, they all increase due to human activities. But what we do, we just only see the consequences that create disaster, not the cause, which is human, us.
Population affects environment, but does environment affect population? Yes, environment does affect population in more than one ways. Relief is one way in which it affects. Relief features is a part of environment and it is also a part of deciding the intensity of population. Let's take up the examples of Uttarakhand and Uttar Pradesh. Uttarakhand lies amidst beautiful breathtaking mountains or is a mountainous region. Hence, it supports much smaller or much lesser population than that of Uttar Pradesh because Uttar Pradesh is a plain region and supports extensive population presently. The second way in which environment affects population is that of development. Let's take up the example of Rajasthan and Delhi to be more clear in the concept. Rajasthan is a desert region and hence the development is slow and much less as compared to that of Delhi, whereas Delhi is a plain region and develops rapidly. Hence, Delhi has facilities that are easily available and accessible. The third and the most prominent way in which the environment affects population is the climatic conditions. Climatic conditions help decide the density of population in over a certain area. Let's take up the example of Antarctica in China. Presently, China has the world's largest population, and that is so because it enjoys a temperate climate, whereas on the other hand, Antarctica bears an inhostile and uninhabitable climate, which gives the land the name No Man's Land.
Let me tell you some facts about overpopulation. First, if suppose there was a ruler of the world and he would limit 2 children per family, then it would take a full generation to stabilize the population. That's because the young children would have their children while the parents are still alive. Second, the population growth isn't just going to put strain on the resources but also on freedom. If, for example, the freedom to travel, the freedom to visit places that are rich in natural resources, the freedom to choose what we eat, and the freedom to be effectively representative by our government. Third, if we calculate out the anticipated amount of resources that will be available to the world in 2100 and the optimal world population in 2100, that is about 2 billion people, that would give the people the standard of living that of about half of what Americans experienced in 1990. According to the UN, the anticipated world population in 2100 will be
Significant population control policy is China's one-child policy, which has some exceptions. It does not permit having more than one child. Unauthorized childbirths are punished, whereas there are some allegations in which forced abortions and sterilizations have taken place. In India, only those people with 2 or fewer children are allowed to contest in an election of the Gram Panchayat or in local government. V2 R2 is a slogan which intends the message to reinforce the family planning so as to control the population. In Myanmar, the Population Control Healthcare Bill requires the people to have a space of 3 years between their children. This policy is usually implemented against the Muslim Rohingyas minority.
Now, I am going to tell you about the steps taken on a large scale by the governments of various countries. The governments of countries affected by overpopulation and hunger have taken steps to overcome these problems. They are assisted by non-governmental organizations, also known as NGOs. Some of the steps taken are mentioned below. First of all, family planning is promoted to encourage people to have smaller families. It is easier for a smaller family to meet the basic requirements of all its members, give education to all its members, and help them develop skills. Members of such a family can contribute effectively to the progress of the nation. Now, the second point is special care is taken to promote family planning among the poor, because poor families tend to have more children to increase the number of family members. Third point will be education. Education is promoted to make people aware of the benefits of having small families. The spread of education, especially among women, also helps controlling practices such as marrying early and having more children in the hopes of having son. To reduce poverty and hunger, government tries to generate more income by creating jobs and providing self-employment. They also try to keep the prices of essential commodities stable, set up fair price shops, provide ration to the poor at lower prices, and sometimes also provide food for work. The world as a whole can provide at least the basic necessities for all human beings, but faulty distribution processes, rivalry among nations, the concentration of resources in the hands of a few nations, etc., deprive many people of these necessities. Fortunately, there is growing global awareness against poverty and hunger. Access to food is now recognized as a basic right for every human being. Also, tax benefits or concessions. Government of various countries might have to come with various policies related to tax exemption to cover overpopulation. One of them might be to waive of certain part of income tax or lowering rates of income tax for those married couples who have single or 2 children. As we humans are more inclined towards money, this may produce some positive results.